the recent news going on about police brutality happening on a daily basis occurring across the country as a result of people filming it, documenting these types of cases, CNN decided to do a segment on Tuesday, December 16th, using the hashtag AskACop that they came out with when they decided to do a social media outreach campaign about asking a cop about different things about police accountability, police brutality, etc. Well, it turns out that some of the tweets overall were actually pro-cops, but the overwhelming majority of them were actually anti-police or anti-police brutality, where they raised questions about police using tear gas, especially from Ferguson, Missouri, for using excessive force on protesters in New York City and also across the country. Many tweets came overwhelmingly in and actually turned out to be trending all over the country on Twitter with the hashtag AskACop. Now, this isn't the first time certain outreach campaigns have happened. CNN did decide to do this on their own, but one group, the New York City Police Department, NYPD, decided to do a campaign back in April earlier this year. For those of you who don't know that was the hashtag MyNYPD that came out, where they said, tweet a picture with a cop or a police officer in New York City area and send it to us. We'll share it on our Twitter page. And that was the picture that they first put out, where there was a person with two cops in front of a police car. Now, I guess in their logic, they would have thought that this would have been overwhelming social media campaign where people would send in great pictures with cops on the street. Well, it turns out that most of them, the majority of all of the pictures and videos that were posted with the hashtag MyNYPD were actually photos of police brutality that occurred years and years ago, even most recently with the Occupy Wall Street movement taking place, where even earlier on, where the infamous video of the women being pepper sprayed with the orange netting being kettled in the street starting in 2011. And even going all the way back up until now, with in between pictures of people being arrested, people being run over by scooters, people being beaten up by the police with batons in New York City. And it really shows the lack of insulting people's intelligence, thinking that most people would post pictures, positive pictures with cops, even though most experiences, including myself, are not really that positive with cops, especially covering protests as a journalist, where it seems like they're more hostile towards journalists, live streamers, and people even just simply being there on the sidewalk, not even doing anything wrong. So it really shows just the epic fail that the most recent AskACop hashtag, and I guess CNN didn't learn the lesson from NYPD, hashtag MyNYPD. They didn't really learn the lesson from the previous fact, where it shows that there were complete lack of understanding or lack of intelligence on this front, where they could just tweet out something about that thinking it would be positive. Some of them were pro-cop, but most of them overall were anti-police and anti-police brutality, where they would mention pictures about what happened with Ferguson, Missouri, what happened in New York City, etc. So it really shows that with the recent cases, Erica Garner and the Michael Brown case, both which we covered in Ferguson, Missouri, and also in New York City after both grand jury announcements came through the past couple weeks ago. You can check out all of those videos on our YouTube channel and the live stream archive for that we documented in Ferguson and also New York City, where it shows that the police tend to act the other way, where they treat everyone as equals, and meaning by that is they treat everyone as a threat, against them, as a complete threat. Even filming cameras, people tend to see the argument that most police officers see cameras as guns. Also with other cases where you've seen people being shot for simply having a toy gun on them. You saw that case in Ohio with Tamir Rice in Ohio for the Walmart BB gun incident that occurred during that time, where police accountability is going high at the same time. It's increasing at the rate, but also the increase of police brutality is also occurring along with the technology that's catching up with it. The only reason we're seeing more and more videos about police brutality is the cameras like I'm using right now, or cell phones that people are using to document police brutality and sending it around the world via the internet, Twitter, Facebook, all of that. And it's really catching up now. But also, the important thing is to recognize that body cameras that are being put in place in police departments and some police departments across the country, that's not the only solution. We could film and also with our cameras and also the body cameras that are used by the cops, they could be filmed all the time. The difference is that no action is going to be taken after that. Eric Gardner's death was put online for all the world to see, where he was put in chokehold by the officer Daniel Pantaleo and saying, "I can't breathe," 11 times, and then dying as a result of the chokehold. And his only crime was, if that is even a crime in the first place, selling untaxed cigarettes on the street, not hurting anyone, being a victimless crime in that front. So it really shows that you can have all the video evidence you want. The difference is what's going to happen after that. What's going to be next? What accountability is going to be put in place for that officer? Because it really shows the chutzpah and the audacity for these officers to say that they could get away with this using terms like justifiable homicide, he was reaching for my gun, terms like that. They could use those terms and get away with it. We're not even a slap on the wrist, not even being charged with a crime at all for anything. So it really shows where people have to pay attention to these cases for Michael Brown and Eric Garner, because these cases aren't going to go away. They're going to keep happening no matter what, as long as the police continue to think they could do whatever they want without consequences, without public outrage. And I think it's really time for people to do that with cameras and raising awareness about these issues. And one way to do that is to definitely check out copblock.org, check out CopWatch, check out all of those organizations that are doing these types of things, teaching people how to know your rights, how to film police, because it is 100% legal to film and record police officers on the street. No matter what they tell you on the street, if you're stopped by a police officer to say, turn that camera off, you have the right to say no, because it's 100% legal on the street, on the sidewalk, to film police officers. Any cop who tells you that otherwise is taught to say that to intimidate you, to back away, to back down. You're not supposed to back down in that situation. The camera is the ultimate truth in situations like this, to film police encounters, whether it's yourself or even someone else. In a situation where it could be somebody else, you should have the responsibility to film that, because your evidence might be as a result of showing the cop excessive force, showing the excessive force that the cop used on that person that you're filming. So it could really come in handy for someone to win a court case, to win a victory in some ways. So I definitely encourage people to film police encounters, film the police often, because as long as they say they could get away with this, as long as they think they could get away with this, they will keep getting away with it. They're not going to investigate themselves, as we've seen with these other cases. They're not going to do that. So it's up to all of us to do that, to film police and to film their encounters. So if you found this video helpful, click the like button, share the video, check out all of our other videos on our YouTube channel at the description below. Check out all of the links also from these types of stories that we've covered, and also all of the videos that we have about police brutality and much more. So again, everyone, thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos, interviews, and much more coming soon.
Your final?
Oh, there he is. Look, he's flashing. I love it. All right, well, now that he's flashing.
No, man.
Don't flash, man. Oh, no, he's flashing us.
Yeah.
Look, do you see a light? Do you see a light?
Tyrants and traitors, giving liberty and freedom back.